not going to get what you paid for, right? I mean, I'm just not going to be able to get through that 50, 70 slides. Is that right, John?
I'm sure you can speak faster than that.
So we're talking about the Optimus Strong. I want you to know that picture up on the right, I walked into the governor's room today. I caught him standing in front of the picture, and that's a picture of the governor. So he's looking pretty good there, don't you think? But I really didn't want him to be understood. You know, I didn't want him to outdo me, so I thought maybe I'd do a little strip here for you because I'm feeling a little Optimus Strong myself. Hold on a second, let me get this out. I'm talking about my shirt tail now. I'm talking about the shirt tail. So I didn't want him to overdo me, so I've been exercising. Like, you thought I was just a fat old Santa Claus, but I'm a young, hunky-looking guy, I can tell you. All right, I'm Optimus Strong. And that's what it's all about. What are y'all laughing at? That's a 24 pack if it's not a pack, all right? So, you know, what we're doing makes sense. We've got to have fun at what we're doing, right? But there's an underlying issue that we always, anybody know who that guy is down there on the left?
Jack LaLanne.
Jack LaLanne. Does anybody know how old he was when he died? First one to say the number. Sorry, Ray, say a number.
97.
How many? 101, a little less. So let's just know. 97? Who said 96? 96 was close. Who said 95? Who said 95? Where?
Over here.
Over here. 95 is how Jack LaLanne was. He brought a lot of fun, and he did a lot of things for a lot of people, and he kept in good health, right? So here's an Optimus pin for having that right. Thank you so much. So Jack LaLanne did a lot of things with his life. He helped a lot of people, and he certainly made a lot of us. I've been on the Jack LaLanne diet for an exercise program myself, so you can see how good it's working. I mean, what we do, why does it matter? That's what we're going to talk. Why does what we do matter? You know, I always say it, right? In a child's life, time is always of the essence. That's where you guys make the difference. The time that we put in, the effort that we put in. What does it do? What's that say down there at the bottom? All at once.
We save children's lives.
What do? We what?
We save children's lives.
And does everybody really believe that? Everybody believe it? I mean, you really should. The programs that we bring to fruition, right, saves children's lives. The mentoring that we provide to children saves their lives. It helps them make the right decisions, right? If you have a bicycle rodeo, do you have bicycle rodeos out there?
Yep.
You know, you give a child safety hat, right? You teach them how to use it. You give them pads. You give them knee things. You know, this is arms, this elbows, and this is knees. So you give that to the kids. You never know what's going to happen, right? They're riding down the street. They fall. What's the first thing they hit? First thing to do is hit the head, right? And don't you believe that because of the programs that we do, we save children's lives? I don't want you to ever forget that. What you do every day saves children's lives. And you know, that brings us to a lot of things. Well, we're saving children's lives, but how do we do it, right? We do it through our membership. Now, I'm not going to talk about membership because I think the governor's got somebody. So I thought y'all didn't want to hear the same thing from me all day long because I think we got some speakers going to talk to that, right? Don't you think?
Yes, I'd like to bring Joe up here. He's going to share some ideas with us.
So I went to the meeting in Winnipeg, and Mark, is listening, right? Weinzoff, without the T. Mark Weinzoff, he was teaching the president-elects and giving us some coaching and telling us some stories. And he shared how some people came to the Optimist Club because they wanted more optimism in their life. And they wanted to be more optimistic, and they wanted to be around optimists. And they come to the clubs, and it was just another boring meeting. And so he made the point, let's have some more optimism in our meetings. And he gave us the example where they took the creed, and they cut it into the lines, and then they handed it out to the people at the meeting. And then they would talk about how the creed applied to something in their life. And so I took this idea back to my club, and I've been the president for 3 weeks now, so we've had 3 meetings. And the first meeting, we did this. We tested it out at the board meeting where we cut up the creed, threw them all on the table, just grab one, read it, talk about how it applies in your life. And then each person got to share their story, and it was very uplifting. And so we took it to the meeting, and we had a larger group, so we broke into little groups of 4, and just randomly gave them one of the slips of paper, and they talked about how that part of the creed applied to their life. And if they couldn't think of an example of how they had applied it, I had them think of a hypothetical example of how would you use this to guide your choices in the future, or in that hypothetical situation. The second week, we did a project, which I did some reading online to dig this one up. It was about writing about your ideal self. So imagine yourself 10 years from now, having achieved all of your goals, having become everything you could ever wish you want, having gone to all the places and done all the things that you could want to do. And you sit down and you just start writing about all those things that you've done as yourself 10 years in the future. And again, this is a very uplifting exercise. And the reading that I did on this kind of journaling talks about how it can have an impact on your happiness and your optimism in the short term, just by doing it once. But then if you do it weekly, it can have a long-term impact on your life as well. So our second activity was writing about your ideal self. The third week, except in 3 weeks presidency, so the third week, I dreamed up one that I decided to call the optimistic counteroffer. So I have these scenarios, and they were pretty neutral scenarios, like you have a new neighbor moving in, or you bought a new piece of clothing. And I gave them an example of some of the thoughts a pessimist might have about that. So example 1, new neighbor moving in. And I say, well, the pessimist thinks, oh great, now I'm going to have to put up with his noisy parties. And then I had the group give me, what would an optimist think about that scenario? And so each of the pessimistic thoughts that I would give them stimulated an idea of what the optimistic response might be. So they would say, well, maybe he'd like to come to my loud parties. Great answer. Or one I really liked was for the scenario where you're buying a new piece of clothing. The pessimist might think, oh, someone else will be wearing the same thing as me, right? And someone from our club said, well, it might be someone famous or a celebrity wearing that same item that I bought. And so when they see me in it, my friends will go, oh, that guy, he looks like Brad Pitt. So we had a bunch of scenarios, a bunch of the pessimistic lines, and they gave me the optimistic counteroffer. And I was amazed at some of the answers that came out of the group. They're very creative, and again, very uplifting. And my hope as the president of the Jamestown Club is to each week have an activity like this and build up a set of them that we can rotate through, so that as new people come in to experience optimism, or the Optimist Club, that they can have a little optimism in their day and make that their most uplifting lunch of the week. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Isn't that great? That's what we come here for, is to share ideas like that. Is there anybody else in here that has done anything like that yet that would like to share?
At the St. Cloud Morning Club, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, Mark shared a couple of things the first thing. Well, he had us do it in the training. I just kind of sat in on it. Take your cell phone and text somebody in your family or you feel strongly about, and say how wonderful they are in your life and how they've affected it. You don't quite get back what Lori got, asking if she was drunk. Everybody gets it. It's fun, and just getting everyone to stand up and shake hands or slap somebody on the back. What else have we done? Just go around the group and say what's happened positive in your life in the last week, and it does have an effect. I don't always do it because we have a speaker or I forget or something, but really, you do this, and it breaks your routine a little bit, and it just, I find it helps. It uplifts me, and I think everybody has a smile on their face. So just showing up and everybody sitting in the same spot, knocking back the same cup of coffee in a row, and yakking about the same old stuff, just shake it up a little bit. So, there you go.
I'm Jenny. I'm with the St. Paul Eastside Club. We have a barn dance, and this year I wasn't able to attend it because I had a family emergency, but I called and invited Terry to that barn dance. He had a wonderful time. We bring the Dakota squares in, and they show us how to do the square dancing, and then we bring kids in. And, you know, it's just an uplifting, it's good exercise, we have a great time, and then we always have food at Clark. Thank you.
Just on the same note here, I did the same thing. I texted my daughter, and my daughter answers back, well, she says, thank you. What brought this on?
That just shows there's not enough of this in our lives.
Right, exactly. All right.
So, I mean, so you know, you listen, I love getting input from, you know, from everybody. I love going out and I love finding out things that you guys are doing. You know, I love the way y'all set up, right? I mean, every Optimist Club has a banner up here. You know, the things that you do make a difference. Each one of us makes a difference. And really when it boils down to it, you know, we can't help the children if we don't feel great about ourselves, right? I mean, I know people say, you know what, I get tired of hearing about membership all the time. I get tired of hearing about new club building all the time. I just get tired of having to do all the work all my time. But when you say that, when you say, you know what, I'm tired of doing the work myself all the time. I'm tired of being that 20% that does it. You know what, if that's what you're saying is, I wished I could get a new member in here. That's what you're saying, right? I'm tired of, you know, always being the president, right? That brings us to something about leadership, right? So I'm tired of being the president all the time. Maybe we need to recruit somebody into the leadership team. And if I'm not mistaken, you had somebody wanted to talk about leadership, didn't you? Were you ready? Or did we surprise?